What's up everyone, John back here with another video, and we are finally taking a look and talking about the Pecron F1000LFP. Stay tuned. Alright, welcome back. So what do we get in the box? So of course you get your unit, the F1000LFP right here. It comes with a secondary box and no more little satchel thing that they usually include with all their other items. I was kind of sad to see that, but get a nice charging cable, really thick, very good quality. And then you also get, it looks like, solar connection. So at least they still give you a solar connection, XT60 to MC4. Looks like it's more of a 12 gauge if I had to guess, but that's adequate for this unit since it's only a 600 watt, actual MPPT, so that's not a big deal. And then you also get, looks like a little brochure guide that shows all their new units, their old units. You got the little itty bitty F1000 right there. But yeah, Pecron's got their lineup coming along, man. They've really branched out in the last like 3-4 years. What a blow up as far as a company goes. I've never seen a company blow up as well as they have, but it's been all for the right reasons. They make a good product at a very good low price that almost anyone can afford, you know? You also get this right here, just gratitude for, getting their product and becoming a, they call it a Pecroner. I've never heard of that before, so it's right there, if you can see that. This also is to how to register the item. So you get a flat 2-year warranty with this item just by getting it, purchasing it. But if you register it on their website, you get an additional 3 years. So it's a 2 + 3. So it's a 5-year total warranty, which is really good, obviously, because, for budget brands, to get 2 years is like actually good. To get 5 years, good job, Pecron. Then you also get your user manual right here. So it's just a black and white user manual. And if you want, I can actually have you pause the screen on the specifications so you know exactly what's what. So obviously LFP batteries, that's no question. It's 1,004 watt hours at 64 volts, 15.7 amp hours. That's 64 volts right there. That's interesting. Not many power stations are 64 volts, but the F1000LFP is 64 volt. It does have a pure sine wave, 120 volt, 1500 watt inverter, which is nice, with surge up to 3,000 watts. You do get your USB-A outputs ×2, so you get USB-A right here, USB-A right there. So these are both 18 watt ports. You get your 100 watt Type-C, which is 20 volt, of course, and then you get a 33 watt, which is an interesting choice. I've never really seen. Let me see if I can get zoomed in on that a little bit. So you got 33 watts right there. So not many power stations have 33 watt ports, but this one does. And I can actually see that being very useful. I have a lot of items that I don't need to charge at 100 watts. They're Type-C, but I could charge them at 30, 40 watts. And I do kind of like having a 33 watt port. And then of course, we scroll over to the right a little bit, 12 volt, 10 amp car socket. I'm glad they included that. They didn't skimp out on removing that because that's what a lot of these power station companies are doing today. They're getting rid of that 12 volt, 10 amps. Then on top of that, you got a 12 volt, 5 amp barrel connector, and that is actually, excuse me, that is going to be a 5525 output. So 5525 has the thicker pin on the inside. I don't know if I can actually zoom in on that a little bit more, but you get the thicker pin on the inside. It's not the one with the smaller pin, so but it is a standard 5525 barrel port. A lot of things connect into that. You can use that for a lot of different things, So overall, it's very well packed. I mean, it's got 4 AC 120 volt outlets, which are rated for 1500 watts. And then of course, the Covenant lights. Hobotech would be proud of this one. So you got nice, it's not bright, but it's definitely not dim. You could definitely light up a large area with that. And it's a nice light too, because it's not gonna be just your little spotlight. It's more of like a floodlight in a way, It lights up a lot larger room area. Then if you click it one more time, you get your bright mode, which is 5 watts. So you get 5 watts on this, which is really impressive for an actual light on a power station. Anything over 3 watts is really, really bright. And then let's see what the third click is. SOS. Hobotech would be calling his little neighbors from upstairs down. So, but yeah, outside of that, very cool light. It's very useful. I mean, if you're taking this camping, which is the main aspect of this unit, you really need a light. That's like without question. You cannot have a power station without a light. There's just no way around it. Even at home, if you're in a storm and your power goes completely out, you don't have lights all over your house. You only have the light that's built into this, or you have a flashlight. Like for me, that's not a big deal because I keep a flashlight on me at arm's reach length. It's all the time, every day, no matter what. But for 99% of people, they don't keep flashlights just lying around all over the place. And if the power goes out, you can't see nothing, you know? So overall, I do appreciate they put the diffuse light on here. Very nice, 5 watts. Like I said, you got a nice array of DC output right here. I mean, 100 watt, 33 watt, 2 USB-A, 18 watts, and those are quick charge and not the slow, cheap ones. I mean, Pecron really packed this thing up. And then, like I said, you got 4 AC outlets. Most of these power stations will give you 2 or maybe 3 if you're lucky, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's a very nice setup. I mean, it's got a very nice fascia on it. It's got a very nice array of everything you need. And to have 1500 watt inverter, that is like as perfect as it gets. You know, obviously, yeah, you want 2,000-3,000 watt inverters, blah, blah, blah. But for a unit this size, you can pretty much power anything off this unit. If you're out camping and you need to warm up a hot plate, or if you need to actually run like a space heater, you can do that because you have a little over a kilowatt of power, which is a good amount of power, and then you have a 1500 watt, you know, inverter. You can't go wrong with that. So very, very nice array and setup that Pecron created here, and I 100% think this is the perfect out form of this actual style. You know, I can't think of anything else that I would have wanted on this that would make it any more perfect, you know. But outside of the DC ports and the flashlight, it does have XT60, of course. So under this flap right here, you have your charging port. This door is a little hard to open. So you got your normal AC charging port right here, and then you got your 60 volt, 600 watt max XT60. Very, very impressive specs. I mean, like, if I can change one thing about this power station, if I can change one thing and only one thing, it would be to get rid of that 60 volt input. I just can't stand 60 volt inputs. I mean, you're so restricted on what you can and cannot put into this thing, which I get why they did it, because this is meant to be a portable camping setup. You know, it's not meant to run your home and get thousands of watts of power. I get it. You don't need 150 volts, but if they would just did even like 75 volts, that would have made this machine just absolutely perfect. But you know what? I'm not going to be too upset about that. Like I said, overall, everything else on this unit is perfect. And then outside of that, I mean, your 3,500 cycles, 80%, so that's a pretty good rating. I do like that. And you're looking at a total of 15 inches wide, and then you got, it looks like 8.5 inches tall, and then 8.4 inches deep. So very nice specs. I mean, size wise, and you're in at 26 pounds total weight. So not very heavy at all, 26 pounds. You got your fan inlets on this side, and I'm pretty sure this can come off. It looks like there's a mesh screen in there. I don't know if I can get zoomed in on that too close, but there's like a mesh screen in there that you can see. And I know there are other units, they actually designed that to where you can remove this cover and you can clean the dust off that mesh screen on the inside. And I'm wondering if this is designed like that too, but I tried to pry at this and it does not come off. I mean, it's on there really, really good. Almost breaks my nail, but it'd be nice if they, oh, sorry about that. It'd be nice if they actually allow that to come off, so you can, especially if you run this thing 24/7 as a UPS or something, you're gonna get dust in there, and it's nice to be able to, you know, be able to clean it out and stuff. And then just on the other side, we got, so you got nothing on the back, just a regular back, nothing crazy. Get you zoomed back out. And then on this side, excuse me, you just have more fan in there, and then that actually shows a little bit of the inverter, but it's another exhaust port area. And then you got your specifications right here: 1,004 watt hours, F1000LFP, 64 volts, 15.7 amp hours, AC output, of course, 1,500 watts. Shows all your USB-C, USB-A's, shows your DC output, 10 amps max. So just your regular specifications, nothing crazy. And like I said, 26 pounds, I mean, that's a really light unit. You know, 26 pounds is not heavy at all. To be a 1,500 watt inverter with over 1 kilowatt of battery capacity, I mean, come on, that's like a really nice setup right there. kind of go through the screen with you guys real quick. So obviously on, off, turns the screen on and off, nothing else. Not a big fan of these rubberized doors, kind of annoying, but whatever. All right, so you saw the light turn on. If you turn the AC inverter on, it clicks. And what I really like about Pecron, especially with their screen, is they give you like different options on here. So as you could tell right here, let me go ahead and zoom that in a little bit. As you could tell right here, shows trip kilowatt hour. That is such a cool feature. If you're ever wondering like how much solar you're producing, unless you have a meter that actually shows you your production throughout the day, this unit actually shows you in the app and it actually shows you on the screen. It's such a cool feature. You do have to have the AC inverter on though, but you can actually switch through different outputs too. So that's set in the app. If you look up here, this will show you the remaining time, shows you the voltage, which is nice, and it also shows you the hertz. So long press to turn AC inverter on and off, you hear the beep. Short press it to go through the little settings. Now what I noticed about DC, I have DC on right now so the screen doesn't turn off. If you actually press the DC button, shows you the voltage, 68.9 volts, which I thought was pretty cool. So you can actually see how many volts are in the system, you know? And that's the only feature it gives you on that, only 100% or 68.9 volts or whatever the voltage is at that time. And that's for your DC output. But I love the fact that you can actually have different features on the screen. Like you can see different settings, you can see, you know, the different outputs, you can see the kilowatt total capacity. It's a trip meter, so basically it shows you how much capacity you were able to get throughout that day, which I think is very, very cool, you know. But outside of that, I mean, that's pretty much the unit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into some testing, some footage of some testing, and just kind of go over everything. I wanna go over the test fan, or here the fan basically under full load or while charging, and then I wanted to do an AC capacity test, then I wanted to do a DC capacity test, then I wanted to show the app, how it works, I wanted to test the USB, outputs, inputs, whatever, and then I wanted to show the overall functionality, and just so you guys can see how this unit works and see if it's right for you. So stay tuned. Alright, so here we are with the AC capacity test. I have a 300 watt space heater right here. It usually settles down to about 300, 325, and we're gonna make sure this is fully charged up. So we are at 100%, just fully charged it, and we'll go ahead and get the AC inverter turned on and get the test started. And I'll put you guys on time lapse to see how long and what kind of capacity reading we get. All right, let's go over the AC inverter on this guy. So right off the rip, ran my full-size residential fridge for over 12 and a half hours, which is really impressive. My fridge usually hovers around 160 watts when it's really just sitting there, and then if it ramps up, it goes up to almost 400 watts. But outside of that, it's always at zero. It doesn't use any power, of course. It's a newer style fridge. It's within like the last 6 years, so it doesn't use too much power. But to get over 12 hours from this guy is really impressive in my opinion. So I did its first capacity discharge test on it. I did it as close to a 2C rate as possible. It was more like 300 watts instead of the 270 I think it was supposed to be. And it ran that for 2 hours and 53 minutes. And I got an 886 kilowatt hour rating. And that came to 88.24% efficient. So almost 90% efficient from this guy, which is very impressive. And I was really shocked when I saw that, you know, because most of these newer power style, you know, power stations, you're lucky if you get 85%. So to be seeing over 88%, very good job, Pecron. All right, so now we're gonna see how much room exactly do we have with this 1500 watt inverter. So right to the left of this guy is a 1500 watt space heater, and it does surge up a little bit, but it's not too bad, you know. So right now it's on the fan setting, of course. It's not actually pushing any power out. And let's go ahead and crank it on to level 1. So this is level 1. It's gonna ramp up, as you can see right here. So we're at 655. 730, 800, 860. So obviously it can run this no problem on level 1, 870 watts, almost 900 watts. So I'm gonna have that settle down for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and crank it on the highest setting to see how much room do we actually have with the AC inverter on this F1000LFP. So it's kind of stabling now around 880, 890. So let's go ahead and zoom that in real quick to the screen, and let's see what kind of surge we get. 3, 2, 1. 1444, 1600, 1617. Let's see if we can check the voltage also. So we're showing 122 volts at 1521. So now it's coming back down. So it could clearly handle this space heater, which is really impressive. I mean, I'm assuming, let me actually double check that, because I'm assuming the space heater, so now it's ramping back down. So this space heater is rated for 1500 watts exactly. So obviously this can run it. It's a 1500 watt space heater, so not a surprise there. Can the Pecron F1000 run a 5 amp circular saw? Let's find out. It's probably gonna be a little loud, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and get that plugged in. So now, let's see if we can get the screen to show up. So I'll start it on one of the lowest settings. So we're at 102 watts right now. Stable 120 volts, which is nice. Let's go ahead and zoom this, or speed this thing up. So we're on 3, let's move it to 4. So no change there. Let's move it to 5. Still at 120 volts, according to the screen. I'm gonna go ahead and max this thing out all the way just to see the surge on it. So 250 watts. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start it on the highest setting to see how much of a surge we do end up getting. Pay attention to the voltage, make sure it's not sagging or anything like that. 3, 2, 1. So yeah, clearly 5 amp circular saw, no problem for the Pecron whatsoever. What about this full-size vacuum? Can the Pecron F1000 run this guy? Let's find out. All right, so pay attention to the screen. Obviously the voltage is right here. See if that sags at all. And you know what? I'm actually gonna do a kilowatt meter too, just to make sure, because I'm pretty sure that screen's pretty accurate, but might as well actually have another way to test it to verify that it's actually a true voltage and it's not sagging at all. So you can obviously pay attention to both. So this is the voltage again over here, and then this is showing that we're pushing out 119.2 volts. So let's go ahead and crank this vacuum up and see if it can actually start it. 3, 2, 1. I mean, no problem. Like I I really don't have much else I could throw at this machine that would push it way over the 1500 watts. But let me see what I can find out. Hang tight. And by the way, that's a 12 amp vacuum, so it's a powerful vacuum, 12 amps, and it powered it up like no problem. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I have two power stations, my actual home backup, my Dabson DBS 3500 and my Dabson 1300, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to charge those variably to see if we can get over that moment or that actual input or output limit that this unit has. So right now I'm going to turn the 3500 on, and we should see about 400 or 500 watts once that kicks in and starts charging. Okay, so now we got the DBS 3500 charging. So you're looking at 975 watts. Shows 124 volts on this side and then 123 volts on this meter, so pretty accurate. So let's go ahead and actually increase the unit speed. So I'll go ahead and add a little bit more wattage to it. So let's see how much that jumps it up to. So it should be closer, roughly 1200. Wait for that screen to readjust. Alright, so now we're close to that 1200 watt mark. And let's go ahead and bump it up a little bit more. So now we should be closer to about 1400. So yep, 1358, 1364. So see the voltage. Surprisingly, it's actually going up, 125 volts. That's a little high, but I'd rather see it go up a little bit than go down. And on this meter, we got 123.7, so pretty damn close. So what I'll do now is I'll set up the second DBS 1300 unit. So we'll start charging that, and that should crank it over the 1500 watts. So now we're at 1590. 1576, 1585. See, our voltage is sagging way down. 116 volts, 111 volts. Not a fan of that. I mean, it's still usable. Anything over 110 volts you can still definitely use. As long as it doesn't go under 110 volts, definitely not something I want to deal with, you know, as far as a power station goes. But it is feeding enough power, clean power, to my two power stations, which is really impressive. The fact that it's been able to run 1560 watts for this much time is a good thing, you know. And let's go ahead and start a timer on that, see how much longer it can run this for. I don't know if you can hear the fans, they're starting to ramp up a little bit. I will say the fans on this are about the same, if not a little bit louder than my DBS 3500, my whole home backup system. So definitely not the quietest fans if you're trying to sleep in a tent or something like that. But then again, you're not going to be running this thing at 1600 watts, you know, while you're camping inside your tent. But the voltage is still at 116, so we're good there. Right at 1600 watts, and it's been a good 25-30 seconds now, and it still hasn't tripped or hasn't done anything like that. So let's see if I can add a little bit more to this to get it to finally trip. So let's add another 100 watts. 1602, 1700, and it finally tripped. Error 20. So really impressive. I mean, it's a very impressive inverter on there. You literally have enough headroom to do a lot. I mean, 1500 watts is a lot as it is, but you can do an extra 100 watts for almost indefinitely. I mean, I'm sure it would run that for at least a good minute or two, and it's nice to know that you have that type of overhead on that, so you don't have to worry about any sort of high surge, you know, appliances or anything like that. This unit will definitely handle it, so good job, Pecron. Alright, now that we saw that impressive AC inverter output, let's go ahead and test the DC output now. So right to the left of it, I have a DC regulated voltage unit, and we'll go ahead and test the USB-C ports first. So we got a 33 watt right here. So let's see, showing 12 volts, which is nice. Let's go ahead and see how much we can crank this thing up by. So we're getting 11 watts at 1 amp. Let's go ahead and crank that to 2 amps. So yep, should be getting pretty close. So 25 watts at 2 amps, 11 volts. Let's crank it up another 0.2. Should be getting close to that 33 watts. So 28, 27, let's do 2.4. So we're at 30 watts output right now, and that's at 11 volts, 2.4 amps. And 2.5 amps is probably going to be getting close to that 33 watts. So let's go ahead and see how far we can push this guy. So 2.7 volts, 2.7 amps, I'm sorry. So at 2.7 amps, it crashes out. So let's back it up to 2.5 again. So it resets itself. So 14, 13 watts right now. And let's go ahead and turn that off and reset it. All right, so 2.5 amps at 12 volts should be pretty much the upper limit on that, I would say. So if I can get this thing to reset itself. All right. Maybe I gotta back the amps off a little bit. 13. Hopefully I didn't fry the 33 watt USB-C port. Let me try to plug back into that. I should be getting at least 12, 11 volts, and it should be able to crank over 2 amps for 30 watts of power, I would say. And nope, it's not doing it. So right now it's only pushing out 11 watts, but it's only reading 4 volts. I'm not sure why. It didn't say there was a DC overload or anything like that. There was no message that came on. When I overloaded the inverter, it texted me, and it also had the error message on there. There's no error message for this USB-C port. So let's see if I plug it in and plug it back in again. See if that makes a difference. So yeah, we're only getting 4.5 volts. That's definitely nowhere near enough. 11 watts. Anyways, let's move on. We saw over 30 watts, so it definitely is what it says it is. Let's try the 100 watt port. So now we're getting 19 volts at 1.8 amps. Let's go ahead and crank this up a little bit, see how far we can push the 100 watt. So we're at 47 watts. All right, now for the 12 volt cigarette lighter. So it's a 10 amp output, so which is good. Perfect for one of your DC fridges or any sort of high output 12 volt accessories that you need to run. This will definitely do it. Along with the 5 amp, which, you know, a lot of people don't use that, but that runs routers, it runs lights. I mean, there's a lot of things you can run off that barrel port. But let's go ahead and get that 12 volt cranked up and see what kind of power output we can get from that thing. So you just pay attention to the screen. So let's go ahead and start that real quick. DC is on. And then once again, if you click on DC, it shows you the remaining voltage of the battery pack, which is really cool. But we are at 1 amp, 1.3 amps right now. So we're getting 13 watts, of course, nothing. 16 watts, nothing. So let's go ahead and crank that up to 3 amps. So 36 watts, 41 watts. And let's just go ahead and crank it all the way up to 10 amps to see how much room we have on here to be able to maneuver anything as far as extra power. So we're at 10 amps right now, and we are at 137 watts, which is really cool to think that you can push that out of that one cigarette port. Let's do 10.1 amps and see if it trips at all. So 136 watts, 10.2, still 136, 10.3, 139, 10.4 amps, 10.5 amps, still sitting at 142. Okay, so we're at 142 watts, still no overload. Let's go ahead and crank it up a little bit more. 10.7, let's see what happens at 10.7. So 145, 142. It seems like it wants to kick, but I'm gonna go up to 11 amps. So we're at 11 amps right now, and we are still at 145 watts. And this is still going strong, which is very impressive. And at 87%, it could run 145 watts DC for 5.5 hours. Very impressive. Let's do 11.5, see what happens. So we're at 11.5 amps right now. And it looks like it tripped. So 11.5 amps is where it cuts off. So very impressive. I mean, 130 to 145 watts, you can definitely get that out of this cigarette port, and you can run a lot of things off that for sure. Now, you obviously output from the cigarette port, and let's go ahead and see if I can get this bank right here to charge at 100 watts. So let's go ahead and plug in the 100 watt port first, and this is showing that it's charging. It's got the charging icon, and we're currently pushing out 53 watts, 72 watts, 97 watts. So we are at 100 watts charging that power bank right there. Now let's go ahead and crank up the 10 amps for the cigarette lighter, and let's see what kind of total output we get. So we are at 235 watts right now. So we got 140 roughly coming from the cigarette lighter, and then we got another 100 watts coming from the actual port right here. And it's hard to see, but that screen right there does show, get it out of the flash, I need it to focus, but that screen right there does show we are inputting 99 watts. So very impressive. Let's see if there's anything else I can add to this. All right, so let's add one more thing to the 33 watt output. So let's go ahead and plug this guy up here in and see. So we're at 234 watts output right now. Let's see if we can use all these ports at once. And yep, the screen is coming on. So we do have input right now, 27 watts right there, shows 27 watts. So very cool. So we got 27 watts going into this power bank. We got 100 watts still going into this, and then we're pushing out 135 watts from the cigarette lighter. So very impressive, good job. So we got 263 watts from DC. Let's go ahead and turn on the AC inverter, and let's see what kind of total of power we can get. So this is a 300 watt space heater, so let's go ahead and turn that on and see what we can get. So 440, 500. Yeah, that's nothing for this machine. I'm gonna have to run a higher space heater to really test this thing out. So let's see what we can find. Okay, so now I'm gonna add another 500 watt space heater to the mix, and shows 263 watts total right now. So you still got 100 watts going to this power bank, still have 27, and then we still have 140 roughly going to the DC tester. So let's go ahead and see what happens if I plug in a 500 watt space heater, which is this guy right here. So we'll have two space heaters. The first one's 300 watts, and second one is going to be 500 watts. So let's go ahead and crank the AC output on. And it looks like, Houston, we have a problem. So it's not outputting anything for the AC. Shows that it's got 120 volts. All right, so I just turned this heater on. Is barely working, and as you can see, the wattage is dipping. I'm not sure what's going on here. We're nowhere near the max output of this machine, so it's definitely an interesting thing to find out. Yeah, AC inverter's on. It's showing it's 120 volts output, but it's not actually outputting any power right now. The two space heaters are not doing anything. Let's turn the AC inverter on one more time, see if it spikes up, and that's maybe the reason. Turn it on volts. So both space heaters are plugged in, they're both turned on, and we're not getting any output. Let's do this actually. Let's turn off DC. And let's see if the space heaters turn on now. Nope. Very interesting. Not sure exactly what's going on there, but let's turn on the AC inverter one more time. And then you know what I actually want to do? Let me read this real quick off camera to see what the total output is on this machine. Alright, so I can't find anything in the specifications or even on the sticker on the side right here. It just shows AC output 1500 watts, and then it shows the USB, DC power output roughly 300 watts. So as far as like running DC, not even to its full load, obviously, just semi full load, and then trying to run the AC inverter, it wasn't working. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. I may have to reach out to Pecron and see if they can give me a little bit more insight into why that wasn't working, because that's really not something that's really hard or unsustainable to do. Like, you should be able to run a couple hundred watts minimum from DC, plus push out 500-600 watts from the AC inverter. They're two totally different systems. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys on that one. So last test I wanted to do is the actual switchover time. Pecron claims 8 milliseconds to 20 milliseconds, and I don't have a fancy machine or anything like that. So what I'm gonna do is just set up a light so you can see the blip or see how fast it is over the light flickering. So, all right, so now it's about to start charging. Instantly, you get a UPS icon right there at the top right corner. Right there says UPS, and let's go ahead and let it surge up and do its thing. So the input right now is 845 watts. It's outputting 412 watts. So like I said, it does show that it's actually in UPS mode. So right now it's giving me a grand total of 1074 watts because I have it set to 60% in the actual app, which is this app right here. So it's at 60% charge. So roughly about 400 or 500 watts of charge, and then 400 watts going output into the actual space heater. So let's go ahead and unplug this, and you're gonna watch this little red light right here, and that's gonna show you. Let me actually turn the lights off in my office so it's a little easier to see it. So this little red light, we're gonna wait and see if you get any sort of flicker. Does it go off and then come back on, or does it stay on the whole entire time? Also, we're going to show the display, so this way you can see, like, does it drop, does it instantly go over to output. So let's check it out, and I'm going to try to keep my hands and arms out of the way as best as I can. So this is the plug right here going into the Pecron. It's charging, obviously. So once again, keep an eye on that red light right there. So 3, 2, 1. Nothing. Not even a flicker. That red light didn't flicker at all. It stayed on the whole time. The output switched instantly, like I couldn't even see it. It happened so fast. But let's go ahead and plug it back in, make sure there's no weird issues. Should go right back to UPS mode in just a few seconds. But what a quick UPS. Yep, just clicked back on, so now it's in UPS mode. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. So red little light, watch that red light, see if I can get it angled better. 3, 2, 1. Nothing. That's a really fast UPS system right there. So awesome. Good job, Pecron. So how about that for a budget power station? The Pecron F1000LFP, very impressive power station. Overall, I mean, you can't go wrong with the form, the fitment, everything, how small and sleek it is, the design of it. It's a really nice looking power station, and it operates really well. The only hiccup I had on this testing was the DC and the AC output, and I'm going to reach out to Pecron and see if is there something that I did wrong, or is there something I need to know. Does it have a limit? Because nowhere in the manual, nowhere on the unit does it say total output like all the other units do. So I don't know if it's 1500 watt inverter plus 100 watts only for DC, or is it 1500 watts plus 300 watts, or does this drop down if you put this to the max? I'm not really sure. That's the only hiccup on this whole entire test and video that I could find that I was not All right, so final thoughts. Pecron F1000LFP. Overall, great unit. I mean, it's a really good unit. It runs well. It operates very well. LFP battery, over 1 kilowatt, 1500 watt inverter, only weighs 25 pounds. I mean, what is there not to like about it? The only issue is that I saw, obviously, that we all saw together was the DC output and the AC output. I don't know, like any other units, they always show maximum output for DC and AC. This unit does not show that. So I don't know if it's, 1500 watt inverter with, 100 watts of DC, or is it, 300 watts inverter with 300 watts DC? It doesn't say. So I will reach out to Pecron. I'll put it in the comments. I'll get back to you guys. Maybe I'll make another video and I'll let you guys know exactly what the outcome is on that, because that's the only problem with this entire unit. It's got a great screen. It's got 1000 watts of input. It's got 600 watts of solar. I mean, it's got all the USB ports and the cigarette lighters that you need. It's got a light. It's so light. I mean, it's a great unit overall. Pecron really hit it out of the park with this unit, and there's not much competition for it. I'll be honest with you. Outside of, maybe an Anchor, there's really not much competition. You can start doing with the Blue Eddies. They do really well too, but you're gonna pay the premium for it, For the money, it is very hard to beat this unit. It's got, like I said, a very nice screen, shows you all the information that you need, and for camping, for refrigerator running, for power outages, you really can't go wrong with the Pecron F1000LFP. You got 3500 watts, or I'm sorry, 3500 cycle battery life, so you're going to be using this for many, many, many years. Pecron has a great name for itself now, so you can be confident that if anything happens with your unit, they're going to stand behind it, they're going to take care of it, they're going to send you a new one, they're going to fix yours, whatever it takes. Very nice form factor, very easy to hold and carry and bring with you. I mean, I really don't have a bad thing to say about this unit, other than that weird issue with the AC and the DC, which I will reach out to them and see what they say, and then go from there. But outside of that, I hope you guys like this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. I'm trying to get my videos up in counts and subscribers higher than they need to be. I'm working very hard at doing it. All these products I pay for by myself, so whatever you can do, I would greatly appreciate it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.